After a three-pointer by Vaqueros guard Justin Johnson with 30 seconds left, the Bearcats had a chance to win it all since it was tied 65-65, and the Bearcats did not want to take this to overtime. After a missed layup by Quay Grant that went out of bounds off of a Vaquero last, head coach Jason Hooten called timeout and drew up a play with 4 seconds left. And it was exactly how he drew it up, as Cameron Hoofner became the hero as he hit a fadeaway baseline jumper at the buzzer to win it for the Bearcats, 67-65. 4 Bearcats were in double digits as Quay Grant had another double-digit scoring game with 16 points and also adding 3 assists. Lamar Wilkerson also continued his scoring contributions off the bench with 12 points. Casey Iziagu arguably had his best game of the season with 12 points and 8 rebounds. And then the hero himself from Adelaide, Australia, Cameron Hoofner, had 13 points in the winning effort.
With 3 on the game clock, Hoofner trying to put it up for the win. It's good! It's good! It's good! Cameron Hoofner may have just won it for the Bearcats! Oh my goodness! The sophomore from Adelaide, Australia puts it up with 1 second, and Sam Houston wins it tonight!
The Bearcats had a couple of days off, and then on February 4th, they went up to Arlington, Texas to face the University of Texas of Arlington Mavericks. The Bearcats had all of the momentum going into the game as they were riding a 5-game winning streak. That winning streak, however, came to an end, unfortunately, for the Bearcats as the Mavericks came out strong against them and won the game 70-58. The Mavericks actually shot 54.3% from the field while the Bearcats only shot a measly 32.8% from the field, and that is not going to win you many ball games. The Mavericks were led behind Chendall Weaver, who had 21 points in the winning effort for UTA. The Bearcats are now 17-6 overall and 7-4 in Western Athletic Conference play. Now let's look at Bearcat women's basketball. This past week, they had a 2-game West Coast trip. First off, on February 2nd, against the Seattle U Redhawks. It was a tightly contested game in its own right where it saw 8, and I repeat, 8 lead changes, but it were the Bearcats that pulled through as they came off of a 20-point third quarter against the Redhawks, and they just ran away with it the rest of the way with the 67-60 victory. Madeline Batista grabbed her 4th double-double of the season with 21 points and 13 rebounds. She also added 2 blocks to her stat line, and transfer guard China Allen had a good game in her own right with 19 points, a lot of it coming from the free throw line, winning 7 of 9 from the charity stripe. But the biggest match of this road trip was against the California Baptist Lancers a few days later down in Riverside, California. It was a close game defensively as both teams combined for just 12 points in that first quarter. But from there on out, it was just offense all over the place. The Bearcats, though, able to get the big win in this one, 66-62. Madeline Batista had herself another monster game, her 5th double-double of the season with 15 points and a whopping 14 rebounds. She also added 3 steals and a block on her defensive side, so she's getting it done on both the offensive and defensive side. Tierney Coleman, though, led the team with 19 points, and Allen put up 13 points and 5 assists. With this big win, the Sam Houston Bearcats moved to 11-10 overall and 7-4 in Western Athletic Conference play. With college baseball not too far away from now, there are still some preseason recognitions that were handed out by D1Baseball.com. One of those lists was the top 50 third baseman in the country, and the Bearcat was named to that list. Justin Wischkowski, after coming off of a season where he hit .369 with an OPS of .969, along with 49 RBIs, was named number 30 to that list. So he's looking to build off of a tremendous first season with the Bearcats. He was named to the All-WAC second team last season in his first season with the Bearcats, and he's looking to build off of that success after receiving such a good preseason honor. Bearcats women's tennis suffered another close loss on February 5th as they lost 4-3 against the UTSA Roadrunners. It is their 3rd straight loss, and it's the 3rd straight time that they lost by that same exact result of 4-3. They are now 2-5 overall this season. To round off for Sam Houston Sports this week, the Western Athletic Conference this past week released the 2022 Fall Academic All-WAC recipients list. There were 34 student athletes from Sam Houston that made it onto the list. To be eligible for this list, ladies and gentlemen, you had to be an athlete that had at least one academic year completed, have at least a 3.2 cumulative GPA, and participated in at least 50% of their team's games. So congratulations to all the Sam Houston athletes that were named to that list. Let's look at Huntsville High School. First off with boys basketball. They went 1-1 this past week. First off, having a very terrible bad loss against the Nacogdoches Dragons, 73-31. It was on January 31st, but then they quickly turned it around a few days later on February 3rd, where they defeated the Dayton Broncos 71-60. The boys are now 5-16 overall, and 3-4 in district play, with still a long way to go. To end off this sports update for Bearkat Sports and Hornet Sports, I want to end it off by giving y'all a great thing that happened this past week for Huntsville girls basketball. First off, they went undefeated this past week, going 2-0. They first beat the Nacogdoches Lady Dragons 2.5 hours away at Nacogdoches, beating them 52-30. And then they turned it around and then beat Dayton a few days later on February 3rd, 66-23. In fact, with both those games, they had a scoring margin in both those games against the Lady Broncos of plus 94 point differential, which is insane to say. But that's not the biggest thing, ladies and gentlemen. There was one other game that we were keeping an eye on that night, and it was the Lufkin Lady Pack going up against the Kingwood Park Lady Panthers. Lufkin lost that game 44-41, and with the Hornets winning, the Lady Hornets winning rather, and the Lady Pack losing, that meant that the Huntsville Lady Hornets grabbed their fifth straight district championship. So congratulations to the girls and head coach Toy Bennett on such a good season. They still have one more game to go. And as I have talked to them before, they understand that the job is not finished, not even close. And that'll do it for your sports update for Bearkat Athletics and Hornet Athletics. I'm Colin Neal. We'll see you next week.